Okay, so, hi guys. I said I would post a video on kinetic energy, so here it is. So, first of all, let's say we have a block of mass. See, that is my block of mass right there. Beautiful drawing. That is equal to 5 kilograms. And this block falls 2 meters. Now we know that potential energy, or at least we do from the last package there, we know that potential energy is equal to mass times gravity times height, which we also learned last class is equal to kinetic energy. Therefore, kinetic energy also equals mass times gravity times height. So, first of all, we want to find this kinetic energy. So basically we do kinetic energy equals mass times gravity times height, which is equal, I'm not going to write the units because it'll take too long in this program, but you have to write them, equal mass times gravity times height, which is equal to 5 times 9.81 times 2, which is equal to 98.1 joules. And that would also be the same as its potential energy. So now we know that kinetic energy is equal to 98.1 joules. Now we go on to find the thing that everybody... Oh, didn't mean to do that. Whoopsies. Didn't mean to do that either. Sorry, bear with me. First time I use this program. Okay. So... So the thing, and now the whole mystery everybody's having trouble with is velocity. So I'm just gonna clear this here. Wrong keyboard. I'm gonna clear that. So everybody's having trouble with velocity. Velocity. Now, it's rather simple once you get the hang of it, but that's the problem, getting the hang of it. So, we know that kinetic energy is equal to, as he told us in class, 1/2 of the mass. I'm going to write it out for you so you understand better. 1/2 of the mass times velocity squared, or velocity to the power of 2. Now, we want to find what velocity is. So, basically, it's sort of like algebra, for those of you who remember algebra from last year. So, we have our awesome block of mass, that is 5 kilograms, and that fell 2 meters. Fell 2 meters. So, basically, we have to do, you say, that kinetic energy equals half of the mass times velocity squared, which is equal to 1/2, and this is where you want the brackets, 1/2 of the mass, which is 5 kilograms. So 1/2 of 5 kilograms, or 1/2 times 5 kilograms, times velocity to the power of 2, or velocity squared. Now, see, velocity is the variable here. We want to know what velocity is, and it could be said that, well, we don't know. Well, we have velocity, we have kinetic energy. That's 2 variables. You can't solve it. But we just found out last time that the kinetic energy was 98.1 joules. So we do know what the kinetic energy is, and therefore have only one variable. So basically, now we just, first of all, we solve for the first bracket, which is half of 5, and hopefully you all know that that is 2.5 kilograms times velocity to the power of 2. So now, this is where we get into going backwards and stuff like this, because we know 1 times, or no, actually, no, not that. not that, forget about that. 2 times 3 equals 6, right? Therefore, 6 divided by 3 equals 2. You're going backwards. So basically, what you have to do here, my iPad turned off. What you have to do here is you reverse this problem. So we have velocity to the power of 2 equals, because that's what we're trying to find, equals 98.1 joules divided by 2.5 kilograms. That's a G. I'm very sorry. So now all we really have to do is we have to divide this, right? So 98.1 divided by 2.5, 98.1 divided by 2.5. I don't think I did that right. 98.1 divided by 2.5 is 39.4, if I am correct. Yes, 39.4. So all this here, this problem, this big confusing problem here, is equal to 39.4. That's a 4. That's a 9. Sorry, that's a 9. That's a 4. I'm very sorry. So yeah, so far we have velocity squared equals 39.4, but that's not it, because that's velocity squared. Okay, I'm going to take this off the board. Or I'm going to try to take this off the board, rather. Okay. So that's velocity squared. We want to find out what velocity is. Therefore, we do... First of all, when you want to find velocity squared is equal to velocity times velocity, right? Now, a lot of people are confused about the velocity squared, the square root of velocity squared. And the reason that we are doing square root of velocity squared is because the square root of velocity squared will be equal to velocity. Because you're basically, what times itself is equal to velocity squared. And we know that velocity squared is equal to velocity times velocity. Therefore, the answer will only be one velocity. And we have velocity. Velocity. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm confusing you saying velocity all the time. I'll try to say it in a simpler way. So basically, you have, let's say you have 2. Now, we want to find the square root of 2. No, sorry, that's too confusing. That you have to go into all this confusing stuff. Okay, 4. Yes, we want to find the square root of 4. And the square root of 4, you're basically saying what to the power of 2 will be equal to 4. And we know that here 2 is the answer, because 2 to the power of 2 is equal to 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. Sorry, that's an equal sign. So now, if we want velocity, square root of velocity squared, basically we're saying x to the power of 2 will equal velocity to the power of 2. That x is a v. It makes sense that v to the power of 2 is equal to v to the power of 2. So the answer, where here you're solving for x, here the answer would be v. So that is why, that was just an explanation on why we are doing v squared, the square root of v squared. So now we have 36, wow. We have 39.2, if you remember from our last equation earlier on. And we know that v squared is equal to 39.2. Now, this is v squared. And basically, you want to be able to have just what v is equal to. We want velocity, not velocity squared. So what we do, we have v squared equals 39.2. And basically what we want to do is we want to make a square root. We want to get the square root of this, which is, of course, equal to v. Right? Because square root of velocity squared is equal to v, like we just saw. But, of course, we can't do this to one side without doing it to the other side. So we have to find the square root of 39.2, or 39.4. I'm sorry, I think we had 39.4 earlier. I'm sorry if I confused you. So basically, we have to do square root of each side, and it's a really easy calculation. You just put the square root symbol in the calculator. It's basically 39.4 square root. So this here is equal to 6.27. So we get velocity is equal to 6.27. So, hope that helped. And yeah.